Bringing the meeting to order. Kind of slim pickings today, but it's vacation time. What do you expect? Thanks everybody for coming. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay. How about approval of the previous minutes that was emailed to everybody? Need a motion first and second. Okay, thank you. Board members, anybody got a comment?
We got to close up the vote on the minutes.
That's right. We got to vote. All in favor of approving the minutes? And any opposed? No, we don't. Okay. Now, management comments. Anybody over there? Nothing? Okay. Tom?
I do apologize. Rick had a doctor's appointment that he could not avoid, so he is unable to attend today's meeting. So I'm on my own. Lovely. For those at home who have not yet voted, please make sure to do so. The end of the vote is rapidly approaching. That's it.
Okay. Since we don't have any other members here, well, here's Rick coming in. We'll just hold up a minute.
So I spoke too soon that Rick wouldn't be able to make it.
We were just getting to the management minutes, Rick, so whatever you have got, floor is yours. Yeah, sorry. Whatever you got, that's all right.
Whatever I've got, okay. All right, so just another reminder about our drawdown coming up on November the 3rd, going through March the 2nd, 3 inches a day, 6 feet in total, and we are sending out letters to lakefront property owners. Should be able to get it out late next week. So as far as our contacts go, we had 12,379 in the month of July. Compare that to 10,918 in June, 9,800 in July of 2024. So trending upward when you compare it to the month. And as far as folks removed, 580 removed compared to 709 the month before. That is in relation to it's kind of a seasonal thing with our swim dock. And once the non-members get the message, then it goes down. So we're still removing trees from spring storms on the lakes. We've had to have some help from a professional tree service a couple times. The rest of them we should be able to get. The dams have all been mowed for the second time, and we'll go back in and cut some woody trees in the next couple months. We have completed dredging at Granton, but we will reinvestigate that when the lake comes down this fall, and likely have to go in again and work around the courtesy dock that is it's on a gravel bar right now, so that's going to have to be moved so we can get under it. Staffing. We hired a new gentleman a couple weeks ago. He seems to be doing well, learning our routine and our route pretty quickly. Our summer hire has reduced her hours to just working on Sunday because she goes back to school as a teacher. But that Sunday, 1 day a week on Sunday is really important for us because we tend to have a lot of trash accumulate on the weekends. As far as our Lakes Ecology staff go, I reported last month that NIAD is starting to return to Loch Lomond. We're seeing it in a few locations, but it's not spreading very fast. We continue to take care of our brood fish in the aquaculture ponds, our bluegill, and they'll go out about this time next year in the lakes. Our Secchi disc readings have been good over the last month, which means that we have not had to put fertilizer in the lakes, and that'll be savings that we'll realize next year because we won't have to buy as much. As far as our carp raffle goes, we have removed 60 grass carp from the lakes in association with that raffle. We have given 4 $100 gift cards so far. The latest winner being Mike Callgrove, who has by himself captured more than half of those fish. So
Good for him.
good for him is right.
And good for us.
Good for us. Our carp tournament is scheduled for October the 11th. I'm sure we'll get an update from Max on that, but we've got our posters printed and I'm starting to get them out. I've also texted everyone who's a part of this raffle just to let them know, and I've already gotten a couple verbal commitments that they'll be registering, so that's good. We've had 53 anglers take our creel survey. That's ongoing and will be probably through about Thanksgiving. Our E. coli samples have all been good this summer on our lakes, but we did have a month we sampled in June during a high water event because there really wasn't any other choice, and we did get a couple high readings on the streams, but that's kind of to be expected when you're sampling during those times. And we are now cleared to have our first trout stocking in November, so we shouldn't have any issues with permitting this year or going into next year. And that's all I have.
Anybody else? Well, is there any updates on the aquatic improvement vegetation and stuff besides the NIAID and that? I mean, the grass cubes and Arkansas cubes, that kind of stuff.
So we haven't been able to find any of the coontail that we want to put in those cubes. They have not gone out yet. When we do get that, we'll put them out and get those going. But no, we do not have those out yet. Later in the fall. Also, Tom reminded me of one more thing. We wrote a new protocol for after hours access to the lake rangers and the phone number. So the first and how we communicate with dispatch in regards to that. So the first call goes, if it's an emergency, it goes to 911, of course. But if it's not an emergency and it's something that my staff can handle, call the Lake Ranger number and we'll respond. After hours, the call can go to me. Dispatch will call me. The non-emergency police line would be the second call, and then if they need me, they'll call me, and if I can't be contacted, they'll call Mike Taggart, who's the director. But wanted to get that lined out and make sure that there is some communication taking place after hours.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. I saw Max earlier. Is he still there? There he is, back in the corner. You got anything for us? Quick update? Okay.
I received the posters this week from Rick and his group. They look a lot like the raffle posters, but they are different. Here he comes again. But I've got some posters out. I've started with Grove, Oklahoma, and Siloam Springs, and then around here locally, grocery stores and fish, hook, line, and sinker. I'm getting, Allen's has said they'll participate with some certificates for groceries or one thing or another, and also got the same pledge from Hook, Line, and Sinker. So we're getting some pledges like that. The biggest thing that I'd like ask for help on is I'd like to start a program around the first of September with the guidance of Rick and his team to start a chumming process to kind of gather up some of these carp, so we kind of know, get them used to the hog lot. So, but anyway, I'm looking for some volunteers on the lakes. I've got one on Windsor and one on Loman, but I could use 3 or 4 on each of those bigger lakes and maybe a couple on Ann. So it's a process where I need some disciplined people that can feed these things the same time every day. So they get used to them, they're up there expecting it, and that's the biggest thing that I've got for today, is just ask for those volunteers.
Okay. Any questions about anything at carp tournament?
And we've got, I don't know if we have enough, but we've got the fish feed that we can donate for that cause.
I know there was talk earlier about using alfalfa. Is that still in the works, or?
I mean, Rick's got floating pellets, and
right.
To me, that's the ideal bait to bring them up. I'd rather them come up so we can see them,
sure,
and know what we're after, rather than something that sinks. But alfalfa was just an idea. Rick, that's some stickers that I laid on beside you there. If you haven't
put on the existing posters.
If you haven't set those out already.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can use those. Thank you.
okay.
Any questions for me? We started with 30. Rick kept a handful.
We can put out more. It's not a big deal.
And I've stopped in at both Harp stores, and neither authority was there to give me the authority to do it. I was turned down by Academy, but anyway, making some rounds.
Thanks for your time and effort. Anything else for any capital budget recommendations for next year? Is there any ideas, new comments, new projects?
We try to let the committee come up with the recommendations because we don't want to force any ideas on the committee. We want them to, generate. Our ideas will be incorporated, but at a later time. And we just want to make sure you force rank them. I mean, you have them listed in must-dos and nice-to-dos, but is this just a list, or is this a force rank? And that's just what we need to know. And don't worry about the cost at this point. We will need to go out and get bids and so forth. What happens sometimes is we try and tackle the first few based upon budget constraints, and then sometimes we'll skip over a few because maybe number 4, number 5, whatever is more affordable. So we try and get the first couple, and then we'll skip down if the budget allows. But we do need it to be force ranked.
And we need to turn this in
by the end of this month.
Any comment? I mean, we've been working on Lake Ann Spillway for what, 2-3 years now. 2 years at least. So that's a priority, I know. Windsor Dam needs repaved.
Did London Landing make the list relative to the road and drainage and the washout that continually occurs during heavy rains, that kind of stuff? And that's been going on for, you know, three plus years that I'm aware of it.
That was a project that we had intended to get done this year, but other requirements caused us to postpone that, so that can be added. And we did get an estimate on that. We're at like $5,500 to do what we need to do for that area. Now, it's not talking about paving the whole thing, but it's to prevent that washout in that problem area.
Yeah, everyone knows where the washout is because it always occurs in the same darn place, but it's starting to get,
Yes.
really needs some help.
And that's on which street there over there?
That's the main drag
Chelsea.
into London.
It's the drive that takes you down to the
Down
ranch.
Down to the docks.
Yeah.
Right.
It's off of Chelsea.
Yeah, it's off of Chelsea, but it's okay. Anything else? Go ahead.
What some of the other, I'm sorry, what some of the other committees have done is they've sent out the list to their committee members and asked them to rank, you know, number 1 is most important, up to number 9 is least important, and then had them submit those recommendations to the chair, and then the chair just added up, and the one with the lowest was the number 1 forced rank. Just
So we need to do that before the end of the month.
if you could.
Yep,
please.
we
That'd be
will.
awesome.
Rick, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
The purchase of a new fish shocking boat and equipment, is that something you guys need, or is that a,
So boat, no. The
Okay.
equipment that's going in it, possibly to likely.
okay,
We're trying to evaluate, I just made a call today to the district biologist and to try to do a side-by-side comparison
okay,
to see if our catch rates are significantly have fallen off. And the issue is that the components are no longer available to fix that shock box. So then that would necessitate, but we're not finished with our evaluation to even see if that is indeed a problem. It seems like it,
okay,
because when we're shocking and we see fish turn up, they don't stay shocked. They're getting away from us, and of course that affects catch rates and everything.
is that something that you would be able to determine before the end of the month, or is that something that will be later in the year before you know exactly?
I'm hoping to be able to get something by the end of the month, whether that's a necessity or a want.
Okay, thank you.
I recommend you include it, and then if he finds out that he can do something different, then.
Go
If
to
you
the next
feel it's,
item.
Yeah.
but if you feel it's important, then I'd include it.
And on the nice to-dos, I know depending on what happens with the auctions and the golf tournament proceeds, that the fly tires are going to be a recipient of, there's going to be hopefully some kayak racks and or launches at some of the lakes. So Rayburn in particular, I haven't heard lakes named yet, but we'll just see what the proceeds are and what the costs involved are.
We would love something at Lake Rayburn, but the situation on the ground is such that there's really not a good place to put one.
Right.
And I'm happy for someone to help me think outside the box on that.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, should we open it up for, we'll let you open up. If you'd state your name and where where you're living at and just what your concern is, and
I got all that written down here.
good.
3 minutes.
You
I'm
got
Bill.
3 minutes too. It'll be time.
I'm Billy Beveridge, 37 Cargill Drive, dock number 347, Stony Creek Cove, Loch Lomond. Dues paying property owner since 1985, homeowner, full-time resident since 2012. Voted for the last dues increase, even though I feel there's no justification or business case provided other than the one used last time to increase our user fees. I can do the simple math that $60 a year would be less expensive for my golf, 2 boats, paddle boats, and 4 kayaks. Give you more money and you'll spend it. We're here to ask that you spend it on us, the real property owners, and not the public that you allowed to come in and use and abuse us and our beautiful village that we pay for. We're asking for help. We live in the greatest neighborhood in Bella Vista, yet we're becoming the most obnoxious, unfriendly bunch of old farts on the Loch Lomond, and we're sick and tired of it. It's embarrassing to us personally and to our friends and family members, especially our kids and grandkids that come to visit and spend some quiet quality time with us on the lake, not to hear us whistle, blow air horns, and yell, "No wake, please slow down," and then for them to hear the name calling and cussing out we get from these residents and non-residents that have absolutely no regards or respect for us and our lake rules and regulations. How many photos and videos are enough for our POA to do something? My phone is full, and I know that the POA Lake Patrol hotline phone is also full because we send them to them of violations. What's it going to take for one of our kids, grandkids, or friends to get injured, or God forbid, even worse, killed? We're asking for action. Give our lake rangers the ability and authority to enforce our rules and regulations as written, with real consequences for those who violate them, especially repeat offenders who laugh at us and our dedicated rangers who know us by names. 3 strikes or less and you're out off the lake. Please do something with our hard-earned property owners' dues that we give you to protect us, our property, and our friends and family. These people that violate us know where we live, and I feel we deserve better. Please take action before it's too late. Thank you. Billy Beveridge.
Thank you. Rick?
Any questions?
Will, is there any questions for him while we're still with him?
May I say something? I think we have several people here that are talking about the same issue.
Same
I want to
thing.
address it afterwards.
Okay.
What I mean, all together.
It's all the same subject, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm a gentleman, and I appreciate your service to our community, to our city. I know that serving on committees is time consuming. I don't know if you get paid for doing what you do, but or if you're volunteers, and if you're volunteers, I double thank you. My name is Brian Proctor. I live at 39 Cargill Drive. I live next door to Billy Beveridge. I'm on the west side of Loch Lomond in the Stony Creek Cove. I've lived here for 4 years. Came from California, I'm sorry to say, for those of you that don't like the Californians, but I was escaping the insanity from there. Moved here, love it. Moved on the lake, love it there. But in the last 4 years, we've had just some really big problems on the lake. As Billy Beveridge stated, we have people that violate the rules and laws when they're coming in and out of that cove. And they're constantly creating a wake, and it's not only eroding from underneath my boathouse and in front of my property to where my sidewalk has dropped 4 inches, and obviously I'm gonna have to take care of that when you drop down the lake. But also, this whole summer, I've had family out. I have family that lives here in Bella Vista, my grandchildren. And we've been enjoying the lake, but it gets, when you have to yell at people constantly to slow down, it takes away from your family time, and really, we're getting tired of doing it. And I've had confrontations with several boaters. I've been flipped off and cussed at, and I always approach it nicely. I usually say, hey, friend, you need to slow down, and then it goes south from there. I'm retired law enforcement. I did 34 years in Los Angeles County as retired as a lieutenant. I understand laws and enforcing the law. And reading through your pamphlet, I hope I'm not running out of time. I've got a minute. I just noticed some things, and I have some questions for the committee on some of these things that are written in your regulations. On number 12, under lake regulations, says watercraft may not travel faster than 5 miles per hour, nor may they create a wake zone marked no wake following the following lakes, and it lists them as Lake Loch Lomond is one of them. And down further says no wake and no ski zones are strictly enforced. Well, I'd really like to know how they're being enforced. Under watercraft regulations, it says operation of watercraft while under the influence of alcohol and drugs is prohibited in Arkansas. Law pursuant to alcohol beverages, open containers, applies to watercraft as well. Anyway, it says Bella Vista Lakes have zero tolerance for policy for these. I see that violation quite often in our cove. Our cove has become a party cove. A lot of boats congregate in there, and those are being violated. I thank you for hearing us. We are very frustrated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you guys really for your diligence and duty on this committee. I get it. I don't think that you could, I don't think I could be on the committee. I get way too frustrated. What you're hearing previously about what's going on in Loch Lomond, Rick and Bob and the rest of the lake rangers are frustrated too, I'm sure. What we have back there, as Brian mentioned, it's a really dangerous combination. We are now, as they said, the party cove on Loch Lomond. And that would be okay if those people that were coming in and out would observe, the same boat restrictions and regulations that we adhere to. We don't speed out of our own cove, that's for sure. The other piece of that is we got a boat ramp back there, and you would not believe what comes out of there and around the corner. I live on the east side of Stony Court Cove, and without rare exception, during the weekend, you do have people that come out the ramp either wide open or 3/4 speed, and literally if they came around that corner, and my kids and grandkids were anywhere even within the 100-foot border of the dock, they're at risk, and it just infuriates me that that there's blatant disregard for what the rules are. There's the real issue here is twofold in my mind. One is we've got a really nice, very specific, Brian read it, about the watercraft can't travel, they can travel up to 5 miles per hour, but they still cannot create a wake. That is just so easy to read and understand what that says. The other piece of it is literally, I signed it, you guys signed it when you registered your boats. You signed an agreement to abide by the association's rules and regulations as federal, state, and local law when registering any boat. Okay? We literally signed that we're going to adhere and abide by those rules and regulations. So in my mind, it's very difficult to understand why we do not get the enforcement that we need. And Rick, that's no shot at you guys. You guys work your tail off trying to get some of this stuff done. Without real enforcement of the Lake Patrol issue, the issue first-time warning to boaters and future repeat offenders get meaningful and appropriate consequences. You know, I know the fine structure came up at one time, but the reality is that, you know, right now supposedly we don't have the ability to do that. We're really fed up. We've got arrogant, obnoxious boaters laughing, mocking, and cussing at us. It's time for immediate action. This has been going on for some time. This year's the worst. I hate to say that, but the reality is we have more issues this year than we've had in the past.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
We never got your name either.
I'm sorry, Dan Bradney, B-R-A-D anyway,
Thank you, Dan.
22 Forfar Circle, Bella Vista.
Thank you, Dan.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Dietz, 3 Robin Lane, on the Loch Lomond on Stony Kirk Cove, and I have a wish list. And one of the top of the list, is why can we not have a card-activated gate into our boat launches? That way, we know who's on the lake. Repeat offenders their card can be deactivated, that they can't get back on the lake. We wouldn't have to put up with the kind of abuse that we are putting up with now. And my other wish list is that we have lake rangers out on the lake at night. We see a lot of dangerous behavior going on. I see boats operating at full speed. And I think, you know, if there's a medical emergency, damage to property, there's no one there to respond. And I think if we're going to allow boats to be out on the lake at night, then we need to make sure that we have rangers and access to emergency response. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Rhonda, that really good suggestion. Actually, the first time I was on the board, I made that suggestion. And it was right before the general manager at the time left. And during all of that time, we kind of lost track of that. So I think it's a very good suggestion. Something we probably ought to look at in a lot of our amenities, not just the lake. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, Bob.
Bob, I appreciate that. We brought that up also. My name's Kirk and I live on Loch Lomond, and I've heard a lot of priorities, but they don't sound like the right ones to me. The priority we need at the lakes is safety. That's number one. I'm also kind of in shock that no one on this committee has brought up what happened on the lake August 1st. Do any of you know what happened?
I was made aware of it. The accident between 2 pontoon boats. After
Yeah,
hours.
I'll tell you what the accident was, because I was the one that got hit
Okay.
with 5 people on my boat. It was at night. The guy was going extremely too fast. We were moving about 8 miles an hour. I heard a motor. I thought, why is that guy so close to me? I turned around and looked. This boat went over the top of my outboard motor. The front of his pontoons tore the gates out of the back of mine and impaled on my boat. I'm not happy. This has been, I've been to these meetings. You know I've been to these meetings. We've talked about 2 things repeatedly. What goes on in that lake at night and that carnage down at Tyree. I'm not going to talk about Tyree. I'm just going to talk about the lake at night. Is there a night speed limit or suggested speed? Is there a hard speed limit at night?
His time to speak.
Pardon me?
This is your time to speak.
I'm asking a question.
I can answer after you, after this. I will give you your full 3 minutes.
Well, I think we can make an exception on the 3-minute gong today, can't we? I mean, come on, folks, we haven't been in here that long. Actually, at night, why should you even allow a boat to go over 10 miles an hour? My wife and I sit out on our screened-in porch. You cannot believe what we see every evening. We have too many boats going too fast. We have many boats with no lights on. Kayaks, no lights on. We have too many boats on the lake at night that are not members of the POA. They're stragglers, and Rhonda kind of addressed maybe something to do with that. The other thing too is, if you remove a boat from the lake, is that transmitted to the police department and those people are cited with a trespassing ordinance, a fine, and you get another one, it goes up, and you get another one, it goes up. Are we doing any of that? We have people shining spotlights up into our yard. Guys shined one all the way up in the screening porch the other day. And I told him to turn it off. Do you know what his response was? Call the lake patrol because they're not out here.
Okay, time limit is up.
Okay, that's fine.
Everybody gets the same amount.
This is about safety though, but I take seriously. There's a huge problem on the lake at night. It's massive. And I need to know what we're going to do to fix it. And oh, by the way, when I got hit, the Lake Patrol never showed up. And I called 911 and I called the Lake Patrol and I talked to the Lake Patrol.
Okay. Rick, were you gonna?
I want to make sure that everybody.
Yeah, thank everybody.
I'm shocked you all weren't well versed on this. This is a bad accident.
We are not here to see who's at fault, but we are here for the overall safety condition of all the lakes. You know,
Why aren't we seeing it then? We don't see it. Nothing's happening. Nobody's been given citations or anything. We like we said, we signed that rules and regulations. Every one of us, when we pay our dues to get our sticker, every one of us that has a sticker, and you guys have records of that, to enforce this crap. And we're sick and tired of it. I'm the bad guy. My wife's not here because she's embarrassed by what we yell at people to slow down. We ask them to slow down. I have a very loud whistle. When I whistle, these guys start yelling, "No wake." His wife blows an air horn. We all holler, "No wake." We know the lake rangers by name. They know us, but they're not there. Their hands are tied. You guys aren't allowing them to do anything for us. And it's frustrating. And I'm not hearing that you're going to do anything to allow the lake rangers to administer citations to violations. We need help, and we pay our dues, and we need you to do some action.
Thank you.
We're worried about the people the children that are kayaking. We go out there and we warn them of Tyree Raceway. That's what we call it. We warn them. They don't know. They swim back and forth from one side of the lake to the other. They have no clue. I shut my eyes. I can't look. I'm on the dock.
Your own dog.
My own dock. They're flying. I have to run off because I'm afraid they're going to hit me. It is about safety. That's why we're here.
Right.
If you don't get this lake straightened out at night, if we were in a bass boat or a low-profile deck boat, we're dead. There's 5 fatalities you're sitting here talking about. I'm still amazed that this wasn't a big enough deal that everybody sitting in this committee wasn't well versed on it. But evidently that's not a big deal. But if if you don't get some, and then, I'm not even gonna talk about Tyree, I'll talk about that next time, but somebody, if you don't get this lake slowed down and don't get this thing under control, especially at night, you see what we see every night. If something bad is something already bad happened. It's just that we were in the proper type of boat that protected people.
Like I said earlier, we aren't here to find fault. We make recommendations is the only thing the Lakes Advisory Committee does.
I think the biggest thing that you can do, and we're in agreement, I could get 50 people out here
Sure.
to come in here and tell you what's going on. And it's bad in our cove. I don't know what's going on the other lakes or whatever. But the only thing we have control over what is happening literally in our backyards on the lake. We have rules, we have regulations. Here's what we call the fishing, boating, water sport regulations. You got all kinds of authority to act on people. I call them malcontents. We've got 15 to 20 people that come in our cove repeatedly. They speed through there, they laugh at us, they think it's funny. I send videos because that way they can't say they didn't do it. We have reference for it, but we don't do anything with it. And all we have to do is, enforce what we already have the ability to do. It's signed on, it's signed off on. You know what, it's just hard to understand why we continue to let this exist, and the more we do that, the more people we have. And if they don't want to abide by the law because there's no consequence.
Rick, were you told about this accident?
I found out the night.
We're way past 3 minutes.
I think what needs to be done, because with Bella Vista being a private enterprise, we need to get legal to see what kind of authority we can give the rangers.
We already have that. Why would we have people sign this if we don't already have that first?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I can assure you Thursday morning, our meeting Tuesday, Wednesday. I can assure you Thursday afternoon, this will be a topic of discussion. And I've heard you, I know Sandy's heard you, we both live on the lake. We see the same things you do. We'll hold some toes to the fire. Now, I don't know what kind of changes those people will, we hear you, and we're gonna do something about it.
Do we have any members on this committee that live in a wake zone? That would be no, that's a problem. I mean, if you don't live it, you don't understand it.
It's rampant on all the lakes. I yell at people also.
I can guarantee you don't see what I see.
Possibly not, but I see it.
What lake do you live on?
I live just up north of Lake Ann.
It's on a no wake lake, right?
No.
It is not a no-wake lake, but the coves are.
I live on Windsor. I've raised my concern on safety traffic after 4th of July weekend. I see some crazy stuff, and
we see crazy stuff every night sitting down on our screen and porch.
Yeah, I hear you, and it's not something that.
But it happened to us, and we were just lucky to be alive.
I'm glad you're alive.
We're glad to be alive too, but we got a 12-year-old girl that was on there. I don't know if she'll ever get on a boat again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I had to have 3 people removed from my boat by my neighbor, not the lake patrol. No one ever came out. That's a problem.
It's not if, it's when.
Yeah, right. Another issue is manpower. Because we do not have enough lake rangers to do it 24/7, 365.
We understand that.
Yeah.
But they say their hands are tied. You guys don't back them. You
No,
don't
so
support them.
let me make some clarifications here. So a couple things. All these are volunteer. These are employees here, but you asked, and these are all unpaid volunteers that are on the committee. So I think that's important. Also, I wanted to mention the 3-minute limit is by policy, and we don't make exceptions because if we let one person go longer because they're saying something we want to hear, and then someone that is not saying something we don't want to hear, and we cut them off at 3 minutes, then that makes it look like we're giving favoritism. So that's why we have the hard rule of 3 minutes. So I just want to make that clear. Here are the restrictions well, let's talk about what the Lake Rangers do. I mean, they had, in the month, 12,400 contacts. That's a large number. They removed 380 boats that should not have been on our lakes. So that's what they can do. What they can't do is they can't fine. In our declaration, the highest document that we have, which is near impossible to change, it does not allow us to fine, okay? The second thing is we cannot suspend for longer than 30 days. Okay, we can suspend for 30 days, but we can't suspend longer. Some private communities do have that ability to go out and fine people. We do not, we expressly do not have that authority, okay? So it's very hard for us to enforce some of our rules, okay? Kevin also talked about budget restraints. We would love a larger budget. We would love to have lake rangers out, more lake rangers out, more often, longer hours, absolutely. But we have to work within our budget constraints. That's not an excuse, it's just a reality that we don't have lake rangers on at night. One thing that came up is a nighttime speed limit. I think that's something that the Lakes Committee should consider. But part of that is enforcement. How do we enforce that? We can recommend, but how do we enforce that when we don't have lake rangers working at night? And I think the last thing is we want to make sure we don't confuse what falls within the authority of the POA and what is a legal action. I've had the question of why wasn't the other boater tested for alcohol use? That's a legal police issue. That's not controlled by the POA. So we want to make sure that if people are doing things, boating while intoxicated, we can ask them to be removed from the lake. We can escort them off, but we can't arrest them. The lake rangers are not police officers.
Is there no liaison between you and your?
Absolutely, we talk to them, but I just want to make it clear that lake rangers are not police officers. And we have to be careful about that, because now this was 10 plus years ago. We had a lake ranger that got beat up pretty badly. They're not police officers. So I just want to make sure.
You have them out there enforcing rules and regulations. I mean, I guess these are suggestions. These aren't laws, these aren't rules.
These are policies that we try our best to enforce, but it is very hard for those lake rangers to do that. I think the lake rangers do an outstanding job with the limitations that they have at hand. I would love that if they had the ability to fine people. Absolutely, because finding people, it works. I mean, you get a traffic ticket, it gets your attention. It's not the ticket that gets your attention, it's the fine that gets your attention. So
I asked that question and you didn't answer it.
Consequences.
I asked the question that can't they coordinate that with the police, and the police give these people a trespass ticket? You guys told me to keep going.
when you come up for your 3 minutes, it's not a Q&A. It's an opportunity for you to say something.
I understand it now, but I'm asking the question now.
Well, I understand, but so when Rick said he didn't want to answer the question because he didn't want to take away from your time, because you only get 3 minutes and we don't want to be, well, it's 3 minutes plus the amount of time that Rick answered.
That's fine, but what's the answer?
We work very closely with the police and try and get them to, we've had the police meet boats at the shoreline and have people arrested. We've had it. It doesn't happen that often, but we've had that done. absolutely. So we try and work with the police as much as possible. They're also somewhat reluctant because the event is taking place on private property. So they have a legal issue on their side. And we're trying to encourage them to take on more enforcement, but they also don't have a boat. They had a boat several years ago. They don't have a boat.
I know the fire department does, but they didn't show up either. But, so what I'm saying is if we remove people from the lake, we're really not doing anything to keep them from coming back to the lake again. That's punitive in any nature.
We have no fining authority. The POA has no fining authority.
That wasn't my question, but I asked if the lake ranger can coordinate with the police when they're removing this person to have the officer meet at that ramp to give that person a trespassing ticket. Is that possible?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. And then the second time it goes to 500. You don't have to hit them very many times to where they won't come back, but I've talked to this kid 5 times down by my dock. He doesn't live here.
Right.
I told him to turn his lights on, and he says, "Oh no, I don't fish with my lights on."
I think and it sounds like you guys are in tune with the lake rangers. Most importantly, when you see something, say something, call the rangers as soon as you can.
Tom, we do that.
I understand that,
Constant.
but hold on, let me finish. Too often, we find out after the fact, hey, last week we had this guy doing this. Finding out a week later does us nobody any good. So call as soon as you can. So that
I called the police, 911, the lake ranger, everything, and this committee meets, and nobody really knows anything about this. That's concerning too.
Rick called me the morning after the event, so he brought me up to speed on what occurred. I think it was the morning after. Yeah, he called me, so I was aware of what occurred. I then sent an email to the board chair, to the Lakes Committee chair that same day to inform the Lakes Committee chair of what occurred.
Have we contacted the gentleman that hit me?
We have not.
That would be a police issue.
Why would that be a police issue when it's a POA voting issue?
An accident that happened on the lakes would be a police issue.
Okay, so the police are not going to suspend his voting privileges, but the POA could suspend his voting privileges for a while.
We would have to work, like I said 2 or 3 times, we don't know who was at fault. We weren't there. This is going to be an ongoing legal investigation, all kinds of other things before we can.
Have you requested the police report?
Have not.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, okay.
We have. It takes several days to get it, but we put in a FOIA request. Yeah.
That was my next question, Bob.
It sounds like this is going to be a major topic at tomorrow's board meeting.
I think one of the big thing is we touched on it, and I think everybody here has the same issue. It's safety. We're trying to do what the right thing is to do. I guarantee you, if we see somebody on the lake speeding through Stony Kirk Cove and any of us are outside, there's either a picture or a video that immediately goes to Bob Walker and the Lake Rangers, okay? So none of this nonsense about somebody saying that if they weren't speeding, when we show them, here's the video, or have a video of people talking to us at, in a certain time, in any uncertain tone.
Right.
So there's no reason we can't use that against them when we need to. If you can't do fines, at least let's generate some kind of citation process where somebody that gets pulled over speeding, we know who those people are that do it over and over. You give them a citation, you document it, you get the membership number off the boat, their registration, their POA card. Might be that they don't even have one and they're not even supposed to be late to begin with. That's why they don't care. I guess that's probably the main two things.
Right.
But you get 2 strikes. I mean, again, I go back to the basic stuff that we all sign. It says, Bella Vista POA regulations may result in the suspension of membership privileges, loss of use of Bella Vista PO lakes, and other amenities. Now, you get 3 or 4 of those people that are doing this continuously, they stop. And that'll get around pretty damn quick.
Right.
That's not what we're gonna tolerate. Right now, we tolerate it. We live it every single day. 4th of July, guess what I did? I wasn't gonna stay outside and listen to that nonsense. So, I just stayed in the house.
This is, like I said, I believe this is going to be a major topic at tomorrow's board meeting.
Do you need us to give you anything else so that you have the ammunition?
I just counted 41 videos and photos that we've sent to the POA hotline since June. And the lake rangers have responded, but not to every one of them, but
Who do the lake rangers report to? Do they report to you, Rick?
Yes.
Okay, and I agree, resources are troublesome everywhere. I mean, no one has all the resources they need, okay? I give you that, but I couldn't hear you really well, Bob, but can we look at reallocating the hours, have them spend different hours on the lake? Because I see them a lot of times, Tuesday, 11 o'clock in the afternoon, there's no one out there. You know, I guess but could we try to prioritize those hours on the lake in accordance with the problems we have?
Can I address a couple things that have been said? So, yes, we can change some hours.
Okay.
The issue with that is I'm not putting anyone in harm's way where they're confronting someone after hours who's not armed by themselves. So now we've got 2 rangers working as a team. And so, yes, we can put some effort towards this, but long term, having 2 rangers together is kind of, it's focusing on one area and letting another area go. And maybe this is, it sounds like this is to the point where it needs some additional attention and understand. As far as the video that you have and that you send to the rangers, if the registration number on the boat is not visible, and maybe sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't, but for us to respond, even if we're on the lake, for us to respond to that person, many times that particular individual is gone by the time we get there. Now, to ask us to come from Lake Ann or somewhere else to go run this boat down, again takes away from efficiency elsewhere. If we had a clear video showing the number on the boat, we could go through our database, get a phone number, contact this person, add them to a nasty list, and when they get to 2 or 3 violations or whatever it is, then we could put forward a suspension of privileges for 30 days. That is the best procedure that I think that we have. given the limited resources that we're dealing with.
So Rick, those people that you do talk to, because they're already on the lake, or they're, you know, somebody's gonna spend the whole day there, I mean, we give them good descriptions and all that with the video. So at that point in time, when the ranger does come up and talk to them, instead of just saying, hey, you need to slow down, you know, they've heard that 100 times from us. That's a point where you make it to them very clear that, okay, I'm using your registration. I want to see your ID card, make sure you are you should be on the lake, and then you give them a citation. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Yeah, a warning card.
A warning card, whatever you want to call it.
And they get that.
They think the next time. I don't really
Yeah,
need another one.
we give citations for that kind of thing.
Rick, can we allow short-term rental people to bring their own boats?
They have to register. There's a weekly registration
And the guest pass, correct?
and a guest pass.
Do they have to provide proof of insurance?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do.
Yes.
I do believe they do, yes.
I believe they do.
Or
Live next door to STR, most of the time they just have a car.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear those last comments.
Did you want to speak? Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, the reality is we have everything we need, in my mind, to at least, you know, take some steps to stop some of this nonsense.
Yeah.
And if we do that, and it gets around, and somebody gets popped off the lake for 30 days, so be it. And if they haven't learned after that, then those are special cases that we should really take some kind of legal action against them.
Absolutely.
And I think Kevin's gonna be, we're reaching the end of our meeting, but I wanna end this with a comment, and I said this before. I think our lake rangers do an outstanding job for what they have, you know, the number of lake rangers that we can have on the lake at any time, given our budget constraints, and the confines of our policies and so forth. I personally feel that they do a very good job.
I agree.
Nobody's disputing that.
Yeah.
Outstanding. I just wanted to make sure that we leave it on a little bit of a positive. So.
It is a positive. They do a great job. We, like I said, we know on a first name basis.
Yeah, it happens on all the lakes. It's probably more confined in your area at this time, but it is all over, and it's something that's gonna have to be addressed. So thank you all for coming and sharing with us.
So where does it go now? You're gonna.
It will be with the POA Board of Directors.
Okay.